The shipyard certificate says we can go to 90 meters, though we can go deeper. There's always a limit, of course. Eventually, the pressure is such, the skin caves in.
Hey everyone, it's Fox from modelmaking.guru here. We're back with another commission build diary. Now, if you watched the last one for Gundam Heavy Arms, you'll know that these aren't full build videos. They're simply quick catch-ups, little 5 or 10 minute jobs, just to let you know how a build is going. It's a commission for a client, so I need to make sure I'm paying full attention to that and not trying to film at the same time. So, it'll just be little updates. What are we doing this time? Let me show you. Let me do a quick flyby. I'm struggling to fit this on the camera now. Yeah, this is still going. We are building the 3 foot long and desk mess making 3 foot long Revell 1/72 scale 7C U-boat. However, this isn't going to be a straight out the box build. This is going to be built to represent the U-96, which, if you've watched the legendary drama series Das Boot, you will know is the U-boat from Das Boot. It's pretty much a straight from the box build. The only things we're going to be doing differently are decals, because they're not, the U-96 isn't represented in the kit, even though it's like the most famous U-boat ever. Nice one, Revell. So we're going to be using some third-party decals, and we're going to be using some third-party flags. As you can see, the kit is, as I showed you, like 3 feet long. It's very nicely detailed for a Revell kit. It's nice and crisp, and I'll see if I can I'll bring it up to the camera. I can't really zoom in because there's not enough space. I've got worried about wires and everything. Let me just get on here. If you can see this, it's quite crisply detailed. Lots of nice vents and so on. I am going to be drilling out, and this is what's going to take me forever, drilling out all these vent holes, because they're supposed to be holes. Obviously, it's where the water vents out when it submerges, or when it emerges from the water even. So we're going to drill out as many of these as we can and get them hollow. It's nicely crisply detailed, and for a Revell kit, you know, if you've watched my other videos, you know I'm not the biggest fan of Revell kits. I like the Colonial Viper. I do like this kit, it's nicely done. I'll show you the sprues. Let me just move this out of the way. It's not the most complex kit in the world. There aren't a million parts. It's mostly superstructure, the deck, the sail, and some of that is the stand. So there's not a million parts to this kit. It's not the most complicated thing ever, but it is a beautiful kit to build. I'm going to ignore completely this sprue with lots of figures. There are lots of little nice 1/72 scale figures. They're good. They're nice and detailed. Unfortunately, they're vinyl, and I'm sorry, vinyl is no use at all to me. I can't paint it. Well, I can paint it, but as soon as you move a figure, he's flexible. The primer and the paint just come straight off. I built one of these. Tried painting the figures for this kit before, and it's just not worth it. The stands make them look cheap and nasty and ruin the kit. You can cut the stands off and glue the figures onto the ship, to the boat, sorry, but it's just not worth it. They look, when you paint them and the paint starts to flake, that's not great, and if they're glued to the boat, then it just looks terrible. So, agreed with the client, I'm not going to be using the figures because they're just crappy. It's a shame. If they were solid plastic, I really don't know why. If they were solid plastic, it'd be a great kit because I could put all the figures on. They're vinyl, the paint's not going to stay on them. It's going to look crap if the paint starts coming off and they're glued to the U-boat. So, hey. We also have standard Revell instructions, which means they fall apart. They look really thick, like there's a million things to do, but in good Revell tradition, for most of it, it's glue 2 things. There you go, right, next panel. So, it keeps it nice and simple. I'm looking forward to this, but I'm not looking forward to the back deck gun because that's a pain in the bum. It's dead fiddly, but we'll get there. I'm going to be using probably none of these decals I'm not sure yet. If I'm going to use the stand that comes with the kit, but depending on display options after that, it may be a case of a wooden base and maybe a brass plaque, or a case, or however we're going to do it. So I need to discuss that with the client. I'm not fully sure yet what we're going to do. If I end up using, say, a brass plaque to go in a display case, I won't need any of these because these are all for the stand and these are all markings for different U-boats, so don't need that at all. You also get some paper flags. I'll just bring these up so you can see them. Some paper flags, or pennant, the main pennant, main flag and ball pennant. I'm not big on naval terms, so whether it's pennant or a flag, I do apologise. You get these little tonnage flags, which are basically hung from the rigging, or rather the wiring, and they denote tonnage sunk, and I quite like those. They're going to be used and put on the sail. The flags themselves, kind of one-sided. Well, they're not because you can fold them over. Kind of missing the big ass swastika in the middle. The problem with Revell kits generally is they're made in Germany by a German company and they can't legally put swastikas on them. For obvious reasons, it's illegal in Germany. Kind of means you get these flags that don't represent anything. They're not Kriegsmarine flags, they're just... So I'm not going to use those. I have ordered some actual cloth flags. And I've used them before. And I'm just waiting for them to turn up. I've also ordered some decals. Now you might not be able to see these because we're building the U-96. The flotilla it was associated with is legendary for having the laughing sawfish markings on the sail. Now there is a point of contention. No one really knows well enough to say for sure whether the sawfish was black, green or blue. There are various photographs, obviously all in black and white, and no one around can remember or is around to remember or tell anybody what colour it was. So there is some debate as to the right colour. I can't remember which one the customer's chosen. He may have chosen blue, it could be black, I'm not sure. It might not be green. It's one of these three. I've got it on an email somewhere. So don't worry, Mr. Client, we'll get the right one. So we've got the laughing sawfish. We also have some, and you won't be able to see these, some just markings for the side of the hull, depth markings and so on. Little tiny ones, you can't see them. They're going to go on the side. What else do we have? Oh, and one thing I'm definitely not using is this. This is the thread that comes with the kit. This is for you to do all the wiring. It's not actually rigging. Now I'm going to get quiet now because I'm going to go and grab something. But it's not actually rigging. It's all the sort of communication radio antenna wiring that goes across the top. This thread is, well, how can I put it? It's wider than the holes in the parts provided for these to go into, so that's useless for a start. It's also fluffy as heck. The moment you put it on the model kit, it goes bleh, and you get this fuzzy string, basically. So that is being abandoned. For some reason, I've got one of these in my car from the last time I built the U-boat. I don't know why it's in my car. It's a good little thread. It's just no use at all for this kit because it will look terrible if you use that. So instead, I've got myself some Easy Line. Now give me a second, I'll go and grab it and show you. Right, so instead of that crappy thread, there, no. I've got some Easy Line, which is basically, it's kind of just like rubber. It's hard to explain, it's like rubber thread. It's very stretchable. You can attach it to a plastic model via a little tiny bit of super glue. You don't need to drill any holes to thread it through or do any knots, which is a pain with string. And it's been used for years by like model railway builders to make power lines and telephone cables and things. So we're going to give this a try. I've never actually used this before because the last time I did the U-boat I used a different thread, but not that thread. But this is supposed to be awesome, so I'm going to give this a try. It's used by aircraft modelers as well for radio antenna wires across the top of planes. So we're going to give that a try. I've got the fine and heavy. I've been told the fine may be better because it looks more to scale. So we'll have a play with those. It's going to be towards the end of the build anyway. But that hopefully should look awesome when it's on. And that can be, of course, because it's rubberized, it can be painted and it'll be nice and basically you glue it to one end, pull it taut, glue it to the end, and then it's there, then you can paint it. So that's that. So I'm going to get cracking with the build. It's going to take quite a while because it is a big model. It's actually bigger than my bench here. So I'm going to see what I can do about airbrushing. I can't in any way, shape or form fit it in my spray booth. So it's either going to be a case of spray it out here on the desk and wear a mask and hope I don't get paint residue and dust everywhere. If I can keep it localized, I should be fine. Or if spraying it out here on the desk with a mask isn't possible and just not a good idea, because it's a lot of paint to spray, it's fumes and everything else that I have to worry about, then the alternative is to spray outside using Tamiya rattle can paints. And I've done that before with this kit and they are absolutely fine. They look great. German grey is going to be one of the main colours. Neutral grey I think is the other colour for the upper hull. And then it'll come back in here for all the weathering and everything else. So I'll be priming it outdoors. I always prime outdoors because that stuff will turn your lungs inside out. And I prime rattle can, not spray can. For such a big model, I'll be here all day trying to prime it with an airbrush. Same with painting really. So prime it outdoors, bring it in, I'll do some panel lining, some pre-shading indoors because I can do that here on the desk. It's only a small amount of spraying. Probably get it outside for painting, bring it back in, then we can start with the weathering. And I'm planning how I'm going to do the weathering. I'm going to plan in some paint chipping. I've got to research the right colour for the undercoat because it's either a light grey or it's a red. But then red kind of looks weird when it's showing through under grey and rust. And it's going to be quite rusty and weathered. So that will do for now. So not very interesting episode because I'm just showing you things on the desk from a long way away. But stay tuned for the next one where I should hopefully have started the build and be part way in. It's going to take me a while to drill out those hundreds of holes, so I'm not going to film any of that. So we'll see how far that goes. But until the next one, thank you very much for watching. And stay tuned for updates. But as I always say, adios amoebas!